Help support our coverage with a free account on Privacy, the service that keeps you protected when shopping online. Get $5 to try it now by using promo code QZZ2J.
Hey, Steve offered to come in and talk for a few minutes. You want to bring Steve in? Hey, Steve, how are you? Long time no see, my friend.
Good, Todd. It's been exactly 365 days.
That's right, it has.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you're here because I'm going to ask you about a dynamic this year for you. You obviously are clued in. You've got your clients coming in, talking to us. You're a PR guy that knows how to do things in the digital world. But I'll be honest with you. I've had the volume of announcements is way down. I'd usually have 3,000 emails in my inbox. I think total I've had maybe 500.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Well, I think there are a couple of reasons for that. You know, first of all, we're used to having 4,200 exhibitors at CES every year. This year we have like 1986. So you've got less than half of the exhibitors that you would normally have at CES now playing in this digital arena. So you've got that. The other thing is, you're right. You know, a lot of the PR folks, I don't think have really mastered the art of how to promote in this environment, and you know, ourselves included. I mean, we really had to do a lot of advanced planning and research, and you know, figuring out how is the system going to work in order to be able to communicate our pitches, you know, to folks like you and some of the other media outlets that cover CES. So it's been a challenge on a number of fronts. It's been interesting. It's been exciting, and I also think that it's the start of what's going to be a new wave as we go into other future shows when it becomes more of a hybrid. But it's definitely a changing of the rules for sure.
You know, it's nothing more exciting than being at the show and shake hands and make connections. But I'll be honest with you, this is a lot more cheaper and efficient. You know, I'm going to finish up my thing here in about 45 minutes, and I'm going to go back and work and get a regular rest of the day done while the rest of my team rest of the Scott's team kind of swaps in and out here. You know, we like being live, but the work we have to do to really make that sure that happens, and then people trying to go from South Hall to North Hall or wherever we may be, logistically, it's a lot of trouble. So I think as we move forward in future years, maybe we'll do a little bit of both. Maybe we'll have people that'll come in person, and maybe we'll have people come in virtually, because this is just effective. And I think what you should do, or what the PR folks should do, is make sure that your guests understand, if you got something you can show me, you know, have that ready to show so that we can show that off on camera. You know, we're right now on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. The majority of people watching are on Twitch. Scott said they had about 2,300 people yesterday watch the live stream, and that's good numbers for us. I mean, we're not a CNET, we're not Gizmodo, but for us, that's a good live stream number.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a little bit of both next year. I think what'll happen is there'll be definitely a forum for these sorts of presentations, probably right before CES, maybe even after CES. I think everybody's still going to kind of get caught up in the on-site, you know, excitement. I think there's definitely going to be a need for facilitating interviews on site, but you know, companies like yours, or you know, some of the others like Be Terrific or Into Tomorrow, you know, they may decide that they'd rather do it all virtually or do it as a hybrid. So you know, that kind of approach, it'll be interesting to see what shakes out, and we're not going to really know that probably until 2 or 3 months before CES 2022.
Steve, just to give you a little idea too, something I set up here in my studio. I've got a studio next to me that has a demo room, and basically I got a table, got the camera set up so it can focus on the table, and then I've got a screen just like one of these sitting right here where you or your client could come in, and I could actually physically hold the product, twist it, turn it on, turn it off, and we could be with the company rep and be able to show that off live during the show. And that's just as effective as bringing me whatever the latest gadget is, or we could put up another screen and have something from a mobile phone or whatever it may be on to show things off. So I think there's a lot of things that we can do from a digital standpoint to make it a real immersive experience for the folks that are watching right now.
Yeah, and I think that'll take a little bit more advanced planning.
Sure.
It's going to be a matter of how do we get those materials into your hands early enough for this? But
Right.
it's all part of the natural development, I really think.
And we understand that's an added expense, and we have always told companies is if you need the product back, just give me a shipping label to send it back. We'll send it back.
Right.
And the more expensive product, obviously, sometimes you got to sign a waiver because you're getting a several $1,000 product in your hand, and they don't want you to keep it. So there's always that option. But Steve, you've done a great job. Kirk, are we still have some time? Have we got anybody on deck, or where are we at?
We're still no guests on deck right now.
Cool. So Steve, what's the general consensus of your companies have probably had a pretty rough year, haven't they?
Yeah, a lot of them have. Most of the clients that we're representing, though, they are startups, and some of them have figured out ways to work during the pandemic. I will tell you that this year, largely because of the pandemic, our client count is a little bit lower. So, finding companies that really want to be represented at CES, is more of a challenge to us from a business perspective. But, certainly from a professional perspective, we're thrilled to be working with the clients that, with the companies that need our services. And, the other thing that's really kind of cool about CES is the fact that we get to not collaborate, but we get to interact with our colleagues, with other PR firms representing other companies. And to me, that's kind of a cool part of this business. I really enjoy that.
I think too, one thing that I've always thought, and maybe you can do this for me, is I think there could be training done to companies because a lot of these companies are startups. They've never presented. Maybe they don't have their pitch down exactly. And I notice when someone comes in and they're having a little bit of trouble, I've done enough of these types of interviews where we try to, cradle them a little bit and help them along. But I definitely think anyone that's starting a company and wants to get exposure like this, we're giving exposure away for free. And this is for us, it's the gift that keeps on giving. We interview all these great folks, and then we have typically we generate more connections with them over the time goes, but just a little bit of training with companies, I think would help them a lot in really coming in cost direct. Now, this show, we're mostly reaching consumers. We're reaching people that are buying the product. Now, there may be a few people that have an enterprise connection, but, and maybe we need to do a better job as well of explaining exactly who we're reaching so that those guests know who to address as well.
Right. Right. And it's funny how CES has shifted a little bit. It used to be called the Consumer Electronics Show, where it really was all, B2C. Whereas now, with all the embedded technologies and all the SaaS, the SaaS products out there, it's really a combination of the two now. So differentiating the two, it's a thing. And that's what, that is what CES is all about now.
All right. Well, I think we do have another guest on deck. Steve, thanks for jumping in here and filling for a little bit. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I figured it was a nice opportunity. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve, by the way, before you go, where can a company reach you?
Oh, my email address is swinter@about, B as in boy, W as in white, F as in frog.com. swinter@aboutbwf.com. And I appreciate the plug opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Yep. Thank you.
You got it.
I hope you enjoyed that interview, and if you did, make sure you check out some of the more than 100 interviews we conducted during the virtual CES 2021 coverage. And of course, subscribe here on YouTube, hit the notification bell to learn when we post new content and when we go live.